Okay, so we're here in Alexandrovsky Sad, in St. Petersburg. You're a local of St. Petersburg,
Yes.
and you have been for how long?
Well, I've lived here since the age of 4.
Okay,
So
so
it's for 30
most of
4
your
years.
life.
Yes.
Okay. You don't have to say how old you are. You don't need to do that.
Okay, you'll get it out.
Okay, so you don't have any kind of particular personal connection to the park, or?
Well, I personally have 3 things connected with it, and the first thing is this is a place which is closely connected with the story of my parents. So whenever I pass it, I remember it. That it's very important for my parents, and for me personally, not so much. The only thing I used to dance tango in actually a cafe over there. So after a party, we would come over here for a walk to the monument that was there with a camel.
So you do visit the park often, though?
I did.
Okay.
Not now, but I used to.
Okay.
For a couple of years.
So what's the story with your parents?
It was in 1968, and my father was a cadet of the Naval Engineering Academy, which is the Admiralty, and my mother was a student of the Philology faculty of St. Petersburg University, which is right across the river. And actually they met here at they were 18 and 19 years old, and they met here at a dancing party here at the academy over there. You can see those 3 doors. That's where it was. Well, they met there, and then they had been dating for about 2 years, and they got married while still being students. And they have very much connected with this place, because as a cadet, my father was only allowed to go out once a week for 3 hours. And my mother and it was not at regular hours, so my mother had to spend hours here on benches somewhere waiting for him to come out. And actually it was also there, not there, but at the main entrance, there was a special room for visitors where they decided to get married. So a lot is connected with this place.
Okay.
So that's a very romantic story.
Okay, so you said you often used to visit the park. Do you think that it's well located? It's in a very busy area, obviously. Like Nevsky Prospect is right there, and there's a lot of traffic like coming through all the time. But do you think you're able to kind of relax here? Do you think it's a good place for a park?
Of course, city center needs parks, and we probably do not have as many as we would wish to have. I would say yes. It's pretty nice and pretty relaxing. I like the fountain very much.
Okay, so the Admiralty. You said that your father was a cadet there. Nowadays, like it's kind of a big symbol of St. Petersburg. You know, it's with the history. It was where the Navy basically started. Do you see it as like a more of a historical building, or do you see it, since your father was there, do you see it as like a military building where he was, or do you see it as like it's not really a touristy place, but it's still a landmark? How do you kind of see the Admiralty?
Well, for me it's the both, because the history is it has always been devoted to the Russian Navy, and the Russian Navy dates back to Peter the Great, and it's something Russia is very proud about, and I'm very proud because I think I'm a part of it. I'm a daughter of a Navy officer who had served for the Navy for 25 years. Yes, it used to be the place where actually ships were built, and then it was converted into a naval academy, and it's the 2nd oldest naval academy in Russia, actually. And it's a very prestigious place where naval engineers were brought up. And I still remember the times when there were many cadets walking around here in the park when they were allowed to go outside the building. But now they are reforming the naval system, so they are moving all the naval academies. There are several to Kronstadt, and which is very good, I think. So right now, and they're going to move the the naval headquarters to this particular building, so it's continuing to keep the naval history.
Okay. As you can see, the Admiralty now is being renovated, and you know, there are occasional renovations and rebuilding just around the city. How do you feel about that? Like with historical buildings, do you think it's good to keep up with the renovations and to rebuild and preserve the history of the city? Or?
Well, of course, it's an open-air museum, and the climate is so bad that unfortunately all the renovations, they only last for 2 years. So the city is in a constant process of renovating. You finish in one place, go to another, and then you have to go back to the next one. That's the climate.
Okay, so just less than a week ago on DNRC, they actually had a little bit of a concert and special event here, just a little event, but do they often have concerts here? Like, is this a good space for kind of celebrations? Obviously, you've got Palace Square nearby, so that's usually better for bigger venues. But you also said that they had the cadet dance here. Is that kind of a common thing? Do people come here to like have parties or to, you know, little things like that?
Well, honestly speaking, I don't know. To me, it would be nice if there are not so many people here and people keep big concerts somewhere in other places, because well, it's just nice and cozy the way it is now.
So it's more better for a relaxing stroll, or for to just kind of sit down, relax, have lunch, or something like that?
Yes.
Okay, sure. Let's see, Medni Vysadnik, we can't see it, it's yet, or from here, but all the way down there, you know, it's another big symbol of Russia. Do you have any personal connection or feelings on that? You know, it's just another big symbol in the area. Any kind of feelings about it, any personal connection or any stories about that?
Well, I'm a St. Petersburger, so to me it's a part of my life. It's a symbol which has been I've been brought up with knowing about it for all my life. I studied Pushkin at school a lot, and the poem, and like every St. Petersburger is a guide. Whoever you ask, they will tell you lots of stories, whether true or not, about the city, and of course about the history and about the Medni Vysadnik. So, well, I trained to be a professional guide. So to me, yes, I know a lot about it. I don't remember the time when I didn't know about it.
Let's see. I don't know. You have anything else to add? Can't think of anything. Let's see. Okay, same with St. Isaac's Cathedral. Do you do you see that as like more of a symbol of Russia, or like compared to like the Church on Spilled Blood, which never really had any actual services there? Is St. Isaac's Cathedral more kind of a religious symbol to you, or is it another, like, living partly under Soviet regime, you know, it was kind of the anti-religion versus religion? How do you see that? Well,
St. Isaac's was not anti-religion, it was Kazan Cathedral, actually, which was the Museum of Atheism. St. Isaac's was a museum, and it had a huge pendulum hanging from the top, which was very interesting because it was just moving under the natural forces of the earth. And that was my first impressions of it, going there as to a museum and seeing this pendulum and all the beauty surrounding it. Well, to me, St. Isaac's is, well, again, as a St. Petersburger and the guy that knows the third largest world construction of the dome of this type, and all know the facts, and that it had been built for hundreds of years. But to me, it's probably not so much a spiritual place, even though it's a church, because there are monasteries and other churches that really do have a lot of spiritual value, but rather a symbol of the great spiritual power of Russia, of the Russian state. You know, more a symbol of some mighty power, both of the country and of the spirit of it.
Okay. And do you think that is that just kind of the impression that you get from it, or do you think that might have to do with when you were growing up? It originally wasn't a church. You know, there are a lot of changes from the Soviet to the, I guess, democratic-ish regime. So do you think, like, are there any other kind of changes like that, or any other ways that you see things differently now just because the government has changed?
Well, it has always been a symbol of the state. It has always been the main church of the country. So it was all this pompous interior and the pompous services. It was the, you know, the official place. And when you wanted to have some quiet prayer and stay between yourself and God, you would go to other places, which there are many in Russia. So it's not connected with the Soviet times, because in the Soviet times most of the churches were closed. It's just this is the idea why it was built, to be the official, the main church of the country.
Sure. Still nothing to add? What's that? Let's see.